What if the moment you gently stop chasing is the moment everything starts flowing toward you? What if naturally attract with calm confidence isn't magic but deeply aligned with your assessment with who you truly are? This isn't about waiting. It's about transforming how you receive what's already meant for you. Don't chase, attract. What belongs to you will simply find you. This is not your typical motivational video. This is a wake-up call for those who are ready to break through their limits and step into the life they truly deserve. If you're searching for true wealth, lasting success, and deep inner happiness, then don't blink, don't miss a single second. Because near the end of this video lies timeless wisdom success secrets that few have ever heard. That final part might just be the turning point in your life, if you have the patience to absorb it fully. And if you're ready to make a change, hit subscribe so you don't miss this journey of growth. Comment, "I'm ready for success and happiness" to mark the beginning of your transformation. And watch until the very end, because the real value lies in what you haven't heard yet. We're not here to entertain. We're here to help you become the best version of yourself. Start right now. Your success won't wait. There's a kind of strength that doesn't run, that doesn't chase, that doesn't beg to be chosen. It waits not out of laziness, but out of clarity. Because when you truly know your deep self-worth, you stop rushing toward what isn't meant for you. You stop pleading with doors that won't open and people who never really saw you. You don't need to chase what already belongs to you. You simply deeply align with your essence, and then you allow. We've been told that genuine success comes from force, that authentic love comes from pursuit, that true, lasting peace comes from tight, controlling every detail. But what if that's the very thing keeping it all away? What if what you're chasing would actually arrive faster if you stopped running after it? In this episode, we'll explore 12 Stoic lessons that will help you gently stop chasing and start naturally attract with calm, confidencing not from ego, but from deeply align with your assessment, not from desperation, but from quiet inner stillness and power, because what's meant for you will not require suffering. It will not ask you to shrink, beg, or betray yourself. What's meant for you will feel like true. Lasting peace, let go of tight control, embrace flow. How much of your suffering comes from trying to make life move on your timeline? You plan, you push, you strive, and still things don't unfold the way you imagined. The job doesn't come, the person doesn't stay, the dream doesn't manifest on cue, and so you tighten your grip, you try harder, you force the process, thinking maybe, just maybe, effort will bend the universe to your will. But here's the truth. The more you try to force life, the more it resists. Why? Because force is rooted in fear. Fear of losing, fear of waiting, fear of being forgotten. And fear has a frequency. It pushes things away. It clouds your judgment. It traps you in cycles of overthinking, overdoing, and always feeling like you're behind. The Stoics knew this long before modern psychology confirmed it. Epictetus taught that we suffer most when we try to tight control what is not ours to command. Some things are up to us, and some things are not. This wasn't just a philosophical idea, it was a survival tool. Because if you spend your life obsessing over what isn't yours to tight control, you burn your energy in all the wrong places. Tight control is seductive. It gives you the illusion of safety, but it's also exhausting. Because deep down, you know life cannot be forced. You can't rush clarity. You can't force authentic love to stay. You can't micromanage timing and outcomes and expect true, lasting peace to follow. True. Lasting peace only begins when you stop clenching. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means letting life breathe. It means trusting that there is a deeper rhythm moving through everything. And your job isn't to dominate it, but to dance with it. Imagine a river. You can fight the current, kicking, screaming, exhausting yourself, trying to go upstream, or you can learn to float you. You can let the water carry you not passively, but with presence. You still navigate, you still choose, but you stop fighting the flow, and suddenly you discover the journey was never against you. You just weren't listening to its rhythm. This is what letting go of tight control feels like. It's not apathy. It's deeply aligned with your assessment. It's not laziness. It's wisdom. It's choosing to act from grounded energy, not desperation. It's learning when to move and when to wait. So ask yourself, where in my life am I trying to force something that isn't flowing? What would happen if I stopped gripping and started trusting again? Not in others, not in outcomes, but in the process itself. Because when you stop trying to tight control everything, you begin to naturally attract with calm confidence what's actually meant for you. Do your best, then detach what if true. Lasting peace didn't come from the outcome, but from the effort itself. We live in a world that idolizes results. Genuine success is measured by achievements, by milestones, by applause, and so we learn to obsess over what comes next. Pour our energy into doing not from joy, but from fear. Fear that if it doesn't work out, we'll be seen as failures. Fear that our deep self-worth is tied to the win. But the truth is that kind of attachment is the root of exhaustion, because no matter how much you give, it's never enough. If you're still clinging to the result, the Stoics offered a radical alternative focus only on what is within your tight control, your action, your mindset, your effort, and release. The rest Epictetus taught this principle. Again and again do your best, then let go. The outcome was never yours to begin with. Imagine the power in that to prepare fully, to give your heart, to act with integrity, and then to release it all without anxiety. That's not apathy, that's mastery. Because the truth is, the universe rarely rewards force. It responds to deep. Align with your assessment. And deeply align with your assessment comes when you act from intention, not from attachment. This doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop tying your inner true, lasting peace to things outside your tight control. Whether it's a job interview, a relationship, a creative project, you give it your best. Then you detach. You don't detach from passion, you detach from needing it. Validate you from needing it to unfold on your schedule, from making your deep self-worth dependent on the outcome. It's like planting a seed. You water it, protect it, nurture it, but you don't stand over it, screaming, grow. You trust the process. You give it space. That space is where transformation happens. That space is where life breathes. Marcus Aurelius, even as an emperor, understood this paradox. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. This is detachment, not the cold kind that pulls away from life, but the wise kind that knows how to stay engaged without becoming enslaved. So how do you practice this in daily life? You set clear intentions. You commit, you work with presence, and then you ask, have I done my part? Have I shown up with honesty and effort? If the answer is yes, you let go, you trust, you redirect your energy to what's next. Instead of obsessing over what you can no longer shape, this is the difference between striving and suffering, between tight control and confidence. You don't need to chase true, lasting peace. You just need to stop attaching it to things that were never meant to hold it. So ask yourself, what have I been clinging to so tightly that I've forgotten how to breathe? Have I done my best? And if so, can I let that be? Enough, because real freedom begins the moment you say, I gave it my all and now I release. Trust the timing of things. Why is it so hard to wait even when we know rushing won't change the outcome? It's because we've been conditioned to believe that everything must happen. Now we want instant answers, instant validation, instant growth. And when life moves slower than our expectations, we panic. We question everything. We think the delay means denial. We think if something isn't happening right now, it never will. But that's not truth. That's impatience, dressed as urgency. The Stoics taught us that time is not an enemy to defeat, but a teacher to honor Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Time is a sort of river of passing events, and strong is its current. No sooner is a thing brought to sight than it is swept by, and another takes its place." This wasn't a warning. It was a reminder to stop clinging, to stop demanding that life move at the speed of your desire, because what's meant for you will not require you to chase it down or lose yourself in the process of pursuing it. It will not ask you to beg, to break, to betray your true, lasting peace. What's meant for you comes when you're ready to receive it, not just physically, but emotionally, spiritually, energetically. Sometimes the delay is not a punishment, it's protection. Life withholds certain things not to deny you, but to prepare you to refine your minds, to strengthen your values, to develop the discipline you'll need once that thing arrives. And if you rush the process, you'll meet the right thing at the wrong time and lose it before you ever truly held it. Imagine trying to harvest fruit before it's ripe. You might get what you want sooner, but it won't nourish you. It'll be bitter, underdeveloped, incomplete. So too with authentic love, with genuine success. With healing, they ripen in their own time, and it's not yours to tight control, only to trust. That doesn't mean you stop acting, it means you act with presence, not panic. You prepare for what you want, but you don't force its arrival. You live your life fully. In the meantime, because the meantime is your life. And yes, there will be moments where it feels like everyone else is moving ahead while you're stuck, but progress isn't always visible. Sometimes the most important growth is happening underground, silent, invisible, foundational. And when your moment comes, it won't be late, it will be right on time, even if it's not the time you expected. So ask yourself, what am I trying to rush that actually needs space to grow? What would change in my heart if I stopped asking when and started trusting soon? You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are simply being shaped for something that is not quite ready, and neither are you. But when you are, it will find you desire without desperation. Have you ever wanted something so badly that it started to hurt you? Wanted the relationship, the opportunity, the recognition, not just casually but intensely, obsessively. You thought about it constantly. You checked your phone, replayed conversations, scanned every moment for a sign. And the more you wanted it, the further away it seemed to drift. Desire is not the problem. In fact, it's part of what makes us human. It points to our dreams, our longings, our inner calling. But when desire turns into desperation, when it becomes a need rather than a preference, it begins to poison us from the inside. Desperation whispers, if I don't have this, I'm not enough if I don't get it soon. I'll fall behind if they don't choose me. I must be undeep, self-worthy. That's not desire, that's fear, pretending to be passion. The Stoics would call this an attachment to externals, to things outside our tight control. Epictetus taught, freedom is the only deep, self-worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our tight control. And when you become desperate, you surrender your freedom, you place your true, lasting peace into the hands of something or someone that does not belong to you. So what does healthy desire look like? It's wanting something deeply but not needing it to feel whole. It's saying, I would authentic love for this to happen, but if it doesn't, I'm still grounded. I'm still deep, self-worthy. I'm still on my path. That kind of desire is clean, clear. It moves from intention, not fear. Think about it when you're desperate. You repel the very thing you're trying to naturally attract. With calm confidence, you start acting out of insecurity. You overreach, you people please. You grasp, and in doing so, you abandon your own center. But when you're calm in your desire, when you move with presence, self-rust, and deeply align with your assessment, people feel that life responds to that desire becomes magnetic when it's no longer tied to your survival. So how do you shift from desperation to empowered desire? First, you pause, you get honest, you ask, what do I believe this thing will give me? Validation, safety, belonging. Then you ask the harder question, can I begin to give that to myself now before it arrives? Because the more you meet your own needs internally, the less power the external has over you next. You return to action not from a place of frantic chasing, but from grounded creation. You prepare, you show up, you live in, deeply align with your assessment, with what you desire, but you stop begging. You stop waiting to feel good until it arrives, because true power is not in the outcome. It's in who you become in the process. So ask yourself, what do I desire, and where have I turned that desire into a condition for my happiness? What might shift if I chose to feel whole now? Even as I move toward what I want, desire is a fire, but desperation burns you. Want what you want fully, clearly, but let it come to you from your center, not from your fear. Focus on the process, not the prize. How would your life change if the journey itself became the reward? Most of us are taught to fixate on the finish line, to work for the promotion, not the growth, to date for the relationship, not the experience, to create for the recognition, not the joy. And so we race through life, with our eyes on the prize, always reaching, always striving, always postponing fulfillment. But here's the quiet truth. The prize is never guaranteed. The outcome is never fully in your hands. And if your joy depends on something you can't tight control, you'll never truly be at true, lasting peace. The Stoics knew this intimately. They warned against living in the future, against tying your happiness to results. You can't dictate, Marcus Aurelius reminded himself. Do not waste what remains of your life in speculating about your neighbors. It is not in the future or the past, but in the present, where your power lies, and nowhere is that more important than in how we pursue our goals. The process is where your life actually happens. It's where you show up, build discipline, wrestle with doubt, find moments of flow. It's where you make the thousands of small decisions that shape who you are. If you rush through that, always focused on what's next, you don't just miss the present, you miss yourself. When you're obsessed with the prize, you move from fear. You push too hard, you cut corners, you burn out, you make decisions from scarcity, and that energy affects everything you create. But when you shift your focus to the process, something shifts inside you. Your energy becomes steady, your joy returns. You stop asking, when will I arrive? And start asking, how can I fully show up today? It's like hiking a mountain only to stare at your feet the whole time. You miss the beauty, you miss the air, you miss the point. The summit matters, but it's the steps that strengthen you. So how do you return to the process? First, fall in authentic love, with the small, with the quiet, with the practice. If you're writing a book, authentic love the blank page. If you're building a business, authentic love the messy beginning. If you're healing, authentic love the days when all you do is breathe through the pain without giving up. These aren't detours. This is the work next. Redefine genuine success, not as what you achieve, but how you show up. Did you act with intention? Were you deeply aligned with your essence, with your values? Did you give your best energy to what matters? Then you're already succeeding, even if the reward hasn't arrived yet. And finally, trust that when you pour your soul into the process, Right. Results will come, maybe not in the way you expected or on the timeline you imagined, but they will come and they'll feel deeper, more earned, more deeply aligned with your ascended, because they won't just reflect what you wanted, they'll reflect who you became. So ask yourself, where have I become obsessed with the prize and forgotten the beauty of the path itself? How would my energy shift if I made the journey the destination? Because the life you're waiting for isn't at the finish line, it's in the steps you're taking right now. Detach from outcomes, not from effort. What if you could give everything and still be at true, lasting peace? No matter how it turns out, this is where most people struggle. We're told to hustle, grind, sacrifice, and we do, but underneath that effort is often a quiet condition. I'll give my all as long as I get what I want. When the outcome doesn't arrive, when the promotion falls through, when the relationship ends, when the project fails, we crash, not just because it didn't work out, but because we tied our deep self-worth to the result. But effort isn't the problem. Attachment is detachment in the Stoic sense. Doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop needing everything to go your way in order to feel whole. It's the ability to give your full presence, full energy, full dedication, and then let go of what you can't tight. Control. Epictetus taught, the key is to keep company only with people who uplift you, whose presence calls forth your best. But that wisdom extends to your mindset too. Your thoughts must uplift you even when results don't, because if you only feel good when life goes to plan, you'll live in constant emotional turbulence. Detachment is not apathy, it's maturity. It's saying, I'm going to show up and give my best, not because I'm guaranteed genuine success, but because it's who I am. And that's what makes your effort pure. It's not transactional, it's not conditional, it's rooted in deeply aligned with your assessment, in choosing to be excellent, even when no one's watching, even when the reward is uncertain. When you detach from outcomes, you free yourself. You free your energy. You stop clinging. You stop fearing. You stop performing. And you start living. Imagine how light you would feel if you worked hard, gave everything you had, and didn't need the world to validate it. Imagine if your sense of true, lasting peace didn't rise and fall with every genuine success or failure. That's not weakness. That's emotional freedom. But how do you do it? You stay present in the effort. You stop measuring yourself by results. You can't fully tight control. You remind yourself that not every seed sprouts overnight, and not every outcome is a reflection of your deep self-worth. Sometimes life's no is actually a redirection. Sometimes the effort itself is the reward. Because it shaped your character, clarified your path, built your discipline. You still set goals, you still dream, but you don't live for the goal. You live from your values, from your why, and that keeps you grounded no matter what happens. So ask yourself, where am I holding my true, lasting peace hostage to an outcome? What would shift if I gave my full effort and trusted the rest to unfold as it must? You don't have to detach from your dreams, just from the illusion that your value depends on how they end. Quiet, inner stillness and power naturally attract with calm confidences, outer clarity. Why do answers often arrive when we finally stop looking for them? There's a moment after all the thinking, the planning, the analyzing, when your mind finally slows down, when the noise fades, and in that stillness, something shifts. A truth rises. A feeling becomes clear. A decision that felt impossible suddenly feels simple, not because the world changed, but because you did. Stillness isn't the absence of motion, it's the presence of awareness, and the more you learn to quiet your inner world, the more clearly you begin to see your outer one. Most two of us try to solve problems from a state of panic. We chase clarity like it's something outside of us, another podcast, another conversation, another list. But the Stoics knew that the most powerful answers don't come from more noise, they come from less. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "No, here you can go is more true, lasting, peaceful, more free of interruptions than your own soul." That wasn't just poetic, it was a guide, a reminder that clarity isn't something to chase, it's something you allow by clearing the fog of reactivity, anxiety, and emotional chaos. Think of your mind like a lake when it's stirred up. You can't see anything below the surface, but when it's still, truly still, it reflects everything with perfect clarity. That's what happens when you stop forcing thoughts. When you breathe, step back, and create space. Your intuition rises, not loud, not frantic, just present. And here's what's powerful: when your energy is calm, you become magnetic. People trust your presence. Opportunities come more easily. You're not repelling with desperation or clouded energy, you're moving through life with clarity, and the world responds to that stillness. Also reveals truth about others, about decisions, about yourself, the things you thought you needed. Maybe they were distractions, the people you chased. Maybe they were never deeply aligned with your essence, the version of genuine success you once idolized. Maybe it doesn't match your soul anymore. But you can't see any of that. When your mind is cluttered, you can't hear your inner voice over the shouting of fear. So how do you cultivate stillness? Not by eliminating all noise from your life, but by pausing in small moments. 5 minutes of breath before you start your day, a walk without music, turning off your notifications and just being. It sounds simple, but it's radical. Because silence in this world is rebellion. And in that rebellion, you return to yourself. And with that return comes clarity, effortless, honest, undeniable. So ask yourself, where have I been forcing answers that silence might already be holding? What truth is trying to reach me? If I would only get quiet enough to hear it. You don't have to chase clarity. Stillness will invite it in a line. Don't force. Have you ever tried to force something, a connection, a project, a life? Decision. And felt everything inside you tighten? It's a feeling we often ignore, that quiet inner resistance, the tension in your chest, the fatigue that won't go away, the voice in the back of your mind saying, "This isn't it." But we push through anyway. We try harder. Convince ourselves, if I just give more, if I just don't quit, it'll work. But force is rarely the answer. Deeply align with your assessment is. There's a difference between persistence and resistance. Persistence comes from purpose. Resistance comes when something deep inside you knows this path isn't right. And yet the world praises effort, without asking whether that effort is even meant for you. The Stoics offered a powerful counterpoint to this mindset. They didn't believe in blind ambition. They believed in right action, in living according to nature, which meant living in harmony with who you are, what you value, and what is within your power. Epictetus said, "First, say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." That's deeply aligned with your essence. It's not about chasing every opportunity. It's about choosing the ones that resonate with your essence. When you're deeply aligned with your essence, life doesn't become perfect, but it moves. There's less friction, less second-guessing. You don't have to drag yourself toward your goals. You're drawn toward them. You don't need to convince others of your deep self-worth. Your presence does that on its own. And most importantly, you stop betraying yourself just to make it work. But how do you know if you're forcing something? You feel drained, not energized. You overthink every step you need, constant validation to keep going. You feel like you're pushing a boulder uphill, not because it's challenging, but because it's not deeply aligned with your essence. Force always demands more than it gives. Deeply aligned with your essence replenishes you, even as you stretch. That doesn't mean deeply aligned with your essence paths are easy. It means they're true. They challenge you without erasing you. They demand your strength, not your soul. So how do you return to deeply align with your assessment? You pause. You ask yourself, what am I doing because I feel I should, and what am I avoiding because it feels too unfamiliar? Even if it feels right, you pay attention to your energy, not just your results. You notice when you feel expansive and alive, and when you feel small and depleted. Then you adjust, you redirect, you re-deeply align with your essence. This is the art of naturally attract with calm confidence, not chasing, not forcing, but becoming the version of yourself that naturally moves toward what belongs to. So ask yourself, where in my life am I pushing so hard that I've lost connection to what feels right? What would change if I stopped forcing and started deeply align with your essencing instead? When you deeply align with your essence, you don't have to chase what's meant for. You can finally recognize you. Your vibration speaks before you do. Have you ever walked into a room and felt something shift? Not because of what someone said, but simply because of who they were. It wasn't their words, it was their presence, the way they carried themselves, the calm in their breath, the clarity in their energy. You didn't need an explanation because energy speaks before language ever has a chance to. That's vibration. It's not mysticism, it's resonance. It's the emotional, mental, and spiritual tone you carry, and it shapes how the world responds to you more than anything you try to say or prove. We're taught to perfect the outside, say the right things, wear the right clothes, build the right resume. But if your energy is off, if your internal world is chaotic, desperate, or angry, it doesn't matter how polished your surface looks. People feel your vibration. Life responds to it. And the more disconnected you are from your inner self, the more effort it takes to naturally attract with calm confidence what you want, because you're not radiating from truth. The Stoics understood this in their own way. They taught that virtue, not image, is what defines the self. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." In other words, who you are inside becomes what you carry into the world. You don't naturally attract with calm confidence. What you post, you naturally attract with calm confidence. What you believe, what you embody, what you consistently live. So what does your energy say about you when you're not trying to impress anyone? Are you tense, defensive, always chasing, always doubting? Or are you grounded, honest, at true, lasting peace with yourself? Even when things aren't perfect, that inner vibration is what people remember, more than your accomplishments, more than your talent. It's what they feel, and it either invites or repels. Without a word being spoken, this is why inner work matters, not just because it makes you feel better, but because it shapes how your life unfolds. When you cultivate gratitude, true, lasting peace and purpose, you begin to resonate at a higher level. You stop begging for attention, you stop needing to prove your deep self-worth. You start naturally attract with calm, confidencing people, opportunities and outcomes that reflect your inner state. But here's the key. You can't fake vibration. You can't perform true, lasting peace. You can't pretend to be confident while drowning in self-rejection. You must become it from the inside out. And how do you do that? You become intentional with your thoughts. You stop letting old pain script your energy. You practice quiet gratitude, stillness, not to check a box, but to recalibrate your inner world. You ask yourself daily, what energy am I bringing into this space? Is it mine, or is it coming from fear? When your vibration deeply aligns with your essences, with your truth, life doesn't have to be forced. You draw in the right people. You see clearly what isn't meant for you. You become the kind of person who doesn't chase because they already are what they're looking for. So, ask yourself, what is my energy communicating, even when I'm silent? And what can I shift within me to naturally attract with calm confidence? What truly resonates with my soul? Because before you ever say a word, your vibration has already spoken. Let go of the timeline. Why do we believe life has to unfold by a certain age, in a certain order, at a certain speed? It starts early, the pressure to be ahead, graduate by this age, succeed by that age, find authentic, love, make money, heal, evolve, all before the invisible clock runs out. And when life doesn't move according to that timeline, we panic, we compare, we shrink, we ask ourselves, am I falling behind? Did I miss my moment? But here's what no one tells you, that timeline isn't real. It's constructed by culture, by conditioning, by fear. And the more you attach your deep self-worth to it, the more you suffer. Letting go of the timeline doesn't mean giving up on your dreams. It means releasing the false belief that your dreams are only valid if they arrive on time. It means understanding that timing is not linear. It's intelligent. There are lessons that must unfold. Before authentic love can stay, there is growth that must take place. Before genuine success can be sustained, there is inner work that must be done. Before true, lasting peace can be felt consistently. The Stoics knew this well. Seneca wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." His point wasn't to create urgency, it was to remind us that the only time that truly exists is now, not 5 years from now, not the version of you you're trying to catch up to just now, where life is already happening. And when you let go of the timeline, something powerful happens. You return to presence. You stop measuring your deep self-worth by the pace of others. You stop resenting the waiting and start learning from it, because waiting is never empty. It's the space where deeply align with your assessment is built, where clarity grows, where your next chapter prepares itself in silence. Think of nature. A seed doesn't rush to become a tree. The sun doesn't rise a minute early to prove its deep self-worth. The seasons don't apologize for their pace, and yet everything arrives exactly when it's meant to. Not a moment too soon, not a breath too late. You are no different. So, how do you let go of the timeline? You start by catching the thoughts that say, "I should be further along," you ask. According to whom you stop measuring your life in milestones and start measuring it in presence, growth, intention. You trust that what's meant for you doesn't operate on fear's schedule, it operates on soul time. And when doubt creeps in, when you see others passing you by, you remind yourself, I'm not behind, I'm becoming. So ask yourself, what deadline am I holding myself hostage to? And what true, lasting peace might I feel if I trusted that my life is unfolding exactly as it needs? To let go of the clock, hold on to the moment, because this, right now, is where your life is waiting to meet you. What's yours will find you. What if the things meant for you don't need to be chased? There's a kind of desperation that comes from believing everything in life must be hunted, seized, earned through struggle. We're taught that if we don't go out and fight for what we want aggressively, relentlessly, we'll miss it forever. But this belief comes from fear, not wisdom, from scarcity, not trust. Because the truth is, what is truly meant for you doesn't require force, it finds its way to you, not when you chase it, but when you become ready to receive it. This isn't about passivity, it's about deeply aligned with your assessment. You still show up, you still work, grow and stretch yourself, but you gently stop chasing from a place of emptiness. Stop sprinting after things that don't even see you. You stop begging to be chosen and start choosing yourself so completely that the right things can finally recognize you. The Stoics believed in destiny, but not as something handed to you, as something you walk toward through right action and inner true, lasting peace. Epictetus said, "Don't seek for everything to happen as you wish it would, but rather wish that everything happens as it actually will, then your life will flow well." He didn't mean to give up on desire, he meant to give up on tight control, because when you try to bend reality with force, you often miss the greater wisdom of its timing. What's truly yours won't ask you to betray yourself to keep it. It won't require you to become someone you're not. It will deeply align with your essence, with your values. It will meet you where you are, not because you waited passively, but because you stood still long enough to grow into the version of yourself who could hold it. Think about that. Maybe the authentic love you're waiting for is waiting for you to become someone who doesn't chase authentic love. Maybe the opportunity you want needs you to release your fear of being unseen. Maybe it's not about finding it, but becoming ready for it. You're not lost. You're not too late. You're not behind. You're unfolding. And what's meant for you is unfolding too. Somewhere in the quiet spaces of the future, it's already being drawn to the energy you're cultivating now with every boundary you set, with every truth you speak with, every time you choose your pound. True, lasting peace over panic. So ask yourself, what am I chasing that might come more easily if I stopped running after it and started becoming the person who simply naturally attract with calm confidences it you don't need to beg for? What's yours? You just need to clear the space so it has room to arrive. And when it does, it won't be confused. It'll feel like home surrender is power, not weakness. What if your greatest strength was learning when to let go in? A world that glorifies tight control surrender is often misunderstood. It's mistaken for defeat, for giving up, for losing your edge. But true,